We have a lot of stuff to cover tonight.
Okay.
So, and I know Kevin's not going to be here. Not sure where the others are, though. But we'll just move forward. I'll open us in prayer. Father, thank you for this evening, for the many blessings that you give us each and every day. Lord, I thank you for this class and for Brian, the blessings that you put upon him to give him the wisdom and the experience to put this together. Lord, I just pray to be with Kevin tonight. I pray that he is having fun on the beach. And Lord, I pray that you will just be with those that aren't here, bring them here quickly, and just guide our conversation tonight. I pray these things in your son's name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. Kevin's in Cabo. Breaking my heart.
Poor guy.
McKinney, Lisa, you guys have anything that you want to share from last week? Anything happened during the week? Any new insights?
Not really. Trying to work through the material, and I'm finding that it's hard to even get to the material because I'm going to really dig into it when I do it instead of just run across the surface of it. So that's about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. Keeney, can you hear us? Not sure if she has audio or not. Hopefully she does. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about searching. We're in step 5. And rather than just look for a job, seek to serve others. The whole idea is to serve people and not to be served. And when your attitude is that of a servant, you will get more of what you want by serving others. The next thing is when you search, use both eyes. One eye is for looking according to your plan, and the other eye is for seeking as God directs. And the idea there is that when you're searching, you're kind of narrowly focused. And you need to keep one eye on those things that you can see, but have your other eye looking for opportunities that God is going to bring across your path. If you're not watching for them, they're going to go past you, and you're not going to realize it. So you want to be looking at the path that you think you should be going down, but don't ignore things that crop up. And those can take the form of somebody saying, do you know anyone who would be interested in this? And even though it may not be anything that you had ever considered, stop a moment and think about it. Is this something that God is bringing across my path? And is this something that he would want me to do? And if it is this something I can do where I'm at now? Is it something I do in addition to what I'm doing now? Is it something that I need to move into as a career? You kind of play with it a little bit and see if it's something that could develop, especially if it involves your gifting. You definitely want to watch for those things. As it says in Proverbs 16:9, the mind of a man plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. So we can plan our path, but God is going to direct where we go with that path. So, I may be a school teacher, and I'm going down this path, and I'm a school teacher, but this opportunity comes up to be an English teacher in Japan. So I'm still going to be using my skills and my background, my training, and all those things come into play, but now I have this opportunity to use those things in something that I may not have considered. So keep those things in mind as they come up. Any questions?
I think so.
Okay. Creating a contact list. Start and grow your contact list. Make a list of everyone you know. We've probably all done this exercise at some point or another. Today, it's even easier to create a contact list by using LinkedIn and Facebook and just going out and putting a name in and seeing who comes up when you put a name in. It's so easy to come up with names and to connect to people these days. in the workbook, there's a networking log, and you definitely want to keep a log of all your contacts. I tend to use Outlook for this purpose because I like to do things electronically. So Outlook allows you to make notes and things like that. But some people still like to go to a paper and pencil logbook and keep track of things. So there's a nice little template there for that. And in the workbook it says to, as a minimum, make one new contact every day. And this is especially true if you're seeking a new position. You want to be networking with folks and trying to make new contacts every day. And that's again, it's not that hard to do in today's world where we have so many social networks available to us. So any questions on growing the contact list?
I just have a comment because I think that you know, it's easy to have a tendency to feel overwhelmed by this because you have so many contacts and you're like, who do I choose? Should I choose family? Is there stuff there maybe I could go down? Is there old people from my workplace that I was at before? Maybe I left in not good terms. Would I still be able to be friends with them? Would I still be able to use them? And so I think taking it a day at a time and adding one by one is a wonderful strategy to help you build that.
Yeah.
And, I equivalent it almost to like when you're a missionary. And my wife's parents were missionaries for 27 years in China, and they didn't just start out with 450 people on their donor list. You know, they started growing it one by one, and then over this time it becomes this beautiful list that they've been using for years and years and years. So don't feel overwhelmed by it, but just take it a day at a time, I think would help.
Excellent point, Tim. And I've said it in this class before, the most important person that you'll ever talk to is the person that you're talking to right now. And if you use that philosophy and not worry about those 450 people that I need to do this ministry, but if I just focus on this one person that's in front of me and meeting their needs and serving them, those 450 will come.
Yep.
Then there's a little graph that says the best strategy is to combine the three efforts: all the time praying, on the ground networking, and online searching. So what does it mean to be all the time praying?
Like you're praying all the time?
Is that even possible?
One of my favorite answers to that is from John Bevere, who says prayer is a dialogue, not a monologue. And if you think of prayer as the time where you're just talking to God, then you're missing the other half of it. And
yes.
So.
Very good, Corey. That's excellent. Yes, prayer and Bible reading should not be mutually exclusive. When you're praying, you should be reading the Bible. When you're reading the Bible, you should be praying, because it is a conversation. This is God talking to you through His Word, and you get to talk to Him. And this all the time praying, I find myself doing it all the time. God, what do you think about this? God, I'm kind of in a pickle. So combine that with your on-the-ground networking. So you're going to use all of your networking devices, your social networking, the telephone, in person. You're going to be using all of that, combining that with prayer, along with an online search for opportunities. And this is the prescription for searching. Any questions or comments?
I tend to gravitate to the online searching and the prayer part and leave out the networking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've always thought of that as being more sales related. So, and I really don't like sales whatsoever. So I realized I need to get into the networking more.
Yes.
And really, any jobs that I've ever gotten have been through the networking. They have not been through online searching, and yet that's what I continue to do. So there you have it. True confession.
Well, that's awesome, because we're going to talk about that quite a bit tonight and how important it actually is. Okay, let's go on to the next slide, Tim. I think it's Tim that's doing the slides tonight.
Sure.
So all the time praying. On page 70, there is a resource in your book. And any time that you have a situation where God seems far away, when your faith needs stirring, here are some scriptures that you can go to and hear directly from God when you're in this circumstance. So all the time praying means talking to God through, not only through prayer, but going to His Word. This one page is just awesome. Everybody should have that. Every Christian should have that page. I have to let the cat out, or else he'll be very noisy. Sorry about that.
He's a noisy dog.
Yeah. Okay, networking for hidden jobs. We can't play a video on Zoom, can we, Tim?
Yeah, we can actually.
Oh, can we?
Yeah.
If we could play that would be great.
What is I don't even know if.
No. Then don't worry about it, because it's probably hyperlinked to my drive.
Is that on YouTube, or can we look it up while you're talking?
Nah, we can just skip that. You can get to this video on the Crossroads website. I would highly recommend watching this one, because this is an excellent video. So let's go on to the next point. And this is the triangle of trust. This is my slide. This is not a Crossroads slide. But this is something that I learned from one of my supervisors. And this triangle of trust is, I know Aaron Rodgers. And you don't know Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers doesn't know you. But you'd really like to meet Aaron Rodgers. So you know me, and you say, hey, Maverick, can you get me an introduction to Aaron Rodgers? And so I like you, and I think, yeah, I think it'd be a good connection for Aaron to know you. So I go to Aaron, I say, hey, Aaron, really like you to meet Lisa. She's vice president of a bank. I know that you've got a lot of money, and you probably want to do business with Lisa. So I'd like to introduce you. So Aaron says, okay, well, why don't you introduce me to Lisa? Now, the beauty of this is everything that Aaron thinks about me is now projected onto you. If Aaron thinks that I'm trustworthy, you are trustworthy. If Aaron thinks I am punctual, you are punctual. And until you prove otherwise, he's going to think that Maverick doesn't hang around with people that are not like himself, which is generally true. This triangle of trust is huge. And we're going to see this, how you can put this into action in a little bit. Any questions on that? That's not in your book, and I recommend that you draw it into your book.
Why are you sideways on the bottom?
Because I couldn't get it to go.
Okay.
Across.
So you're on the left side of the triangle with Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Aaron's supposed to be at the top, right?
He's at the, okay, got it. Okay, so he's at the top, and you're on the left, and I'm on the right, correct?
Yes.
And the idea is that the closer you and I are together, the closer we can get to Aaron Rodgers, or?
No, the idea is that if I have a relationship with Aaron and you don't, it's through my relationship with you that you can have a relationship with Aaron.
Got it. and then everything that is portrayed upon you as a person or an individual, if you are trustworthy, on timely, a clean person, things like that, then Aaron's going to think that I'm clean and timely as well.
You're going to get the benefit of the doubt until you prove otherwise.
Got it. Okay.
Now think about that for a little bit. Do you think you could use that in your current career or in your personal life to meet with people that can help you or that you can help? Now, I'll just leave that unanswered, but this is huge. It really makes a difference. So let's go on to page 44. And on-the-ground networking, most employers try to recruit people through their personal contacts before they advertise a position or post it on the internet. Of all the jobs that get filled, how many are part of this hidden job market? Over 50%. Another startling statistic came from a private corporate study that demonstrated that the applicants who had been personally referred were 42 times more likely to be selected than those without a personal referral. 4,200% better chance of being given an opportunity than without a personal reference. Wouldn't you like to go into an interview? Wouldn't you like to go into a business meeting with a 4,200% better chance of getting what you came there for than not? And it's just as easy as networking. Using your network to find somebody who knows somebody who's going to be at that meeting and getting an introduction. LinkedIn makes it so easy today to do that. So why is this true? First, the employer knows someone who knows you. Second, you're more likely to be favorably received because of the positive reputation of the referral. And third, the likelihood of a match between personal values and corporate culture is higher. Isn't that amazing?
Definitely.
That's a big deal. I think the networking is an area that people really struggle with. And Terry, I don't know if you can, I'd like to hear from you on this in terms of what your experience is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've kind of found in my experience that it's a lot of who you know, not always what you know, but it's what keeps you there where you are. Throughout my career, that's definitely been very evident. And it's, in some cases, it's not always the best thing, but sometimes it can work to your advantage as well.
Yeah, I think it's really scary when you go into a job fair and everybody's dressed up in suits and everybody's faking like they're somebody that they're not, basically, and and you walk into a room, and I've seen it before, and people just get paralysis. I mean, they just what do you do first? What do you do third? What do you do fifth? How do you and I think if some of the more introverted people, because typically they're the ones who say, well, I can't network, I'm not naturally outgoing, I'm not whatever, and I'd be interested in, Maverick, what you say about that. But I think the introverted people, if they were naturally talking on a daily basis, same thing with the contacts. I'm making one new contact a day instead of going to one event trying to make 100 of them, which I'm going to be very unsuccessful at.
Yeah. As far as somebody being introverted, again, if you have that relationship built before the meeting, it's not as scary. If you, and also we're going to show you how to take away a lot of the anxiety when you go into either an interview or a business meeting. You're going to go in prepared. I don't know. Have I told you guys this? Anxiety is the price you pay for not being prepared.
That's good.
Anxiety is the price you pay for not being prepared. If you are prepared going into a business meeting or going into an interview, your anxiety level is going to be low. It's not going to be gone, but it's going to be low. Not only are you going to have less anxiety, you're going to look better. You're going to look like you have confidence. You're going to own the room because you know what you're there for. You know you were supposed to be there because you've done your research. You've created the things that you need for that meeting. So always, always, always be prepared going in, and your anxiety level is really low. Same thing with networking. If you're going to meet somebody for the first time, whether it's on the phone or on the internet even, if you're just going to send them an email, script it. And we'll talk about scripts in a minute. I had a boss that scripted every single phone call she made. And Tim, you know this lady, Christy Spear.
Oh, yeah.
Christy, she wrote down what was going to be said, her reactions, and she would guide that conversation. I hated getting phone calls from her because I knew I was being scripted. So, I'd give my answer, and then she'd say, well, what do you think about this? And, she'd be directing me to the place she wanted me to go. So I'm not saying that you need to do that, but what I'm saying is when you've scripted out what you're going to say, you're prepared. You've anticipated what the other person might say and where you can take that conversation.
That's good.
Maverick, what would you suggest? I was thinking about the introverted people too, or people who are just more quiet. And it's funny because Corey and I were just talking earlier today in the office about an event that I went to. And once I got there, I didn't talk to anybody because I felt so overwhelmed. And it's funny because I'm a pretty extroverted person. I like talking, but I realized that I didn't know what I was looking for being there. So I didn't want to talk to a bunch of people not knowing what I was going there for. So that could be part of the prepared and part of like the season of life that I was. I was still in school, so I didn't really know what I was going for. But I don't know, or like people who have a hard time feeling genuine when they're scripting stuff, because I could see myself feeling that way too. And I had a sales job, kind of like what Lisa was saying, it feels like sales, or it feels really businessy to me when like I just want to have like a friendship with everyone. I don't know, do people who feel like that just kind of need to move past it? And
well, what you're going to find is when you first start scripting that it's going to be very mechanical. But after you've done it a few times and you get better at it, and you'll get comfortable with it. And yeah, you'll still write out a script, but it won't be nearly as elaborate as your first few attempts. And it will be more natural. So the only way to get past the initial is to start doing it and get past the initial, learn how to do it, and then just make it a practice to script what you're going to say. Walking into a room where you don't know anyone and you're not really sure why you're there, you're going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to say anything. I'm the same way. That's natural. If you don't have a reason to be there that's clear in your mind, yeah, that's the way it's going to be. The only thing you do is figure out why am I going to this? What's my purpose? If you have a goal in mind, then you can kind of search out for the person that would help you get to your goal.
Just got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't know if everybody can see what McKinney's saying, but she suggested for introverts to go to events with trusted friends. So she's on chat saying that, so it's a good point.
Yeah, and we have network meetings in the Green Bay area. I highly recommend if you have network meetings in your area, just go to a couple. Find out where they are, and you can find them on LinkedIn. Find out where they are and just attend them. And go with a friend and make it an event. Like going to the movies. Okay, any other questions or comments? Let's see. Help others with whom you network. Find personal referrals to people you wish to reach. Join and participate in associations. Get informational interviews and ask opinions on how to best describe your experience and abilities. So an informational interview is just an interview. It's a conversation with somebody. So if you know somebody that works at ABC company and you're thinking about working over there, find somebody that works there and just ask them some questions. Get information from them about the company. So there are 4 basic ways to connect. One is in person. This is very personal, but it's not very efficient. So if you're getting personal connections, you can't get a lot of those in a day. 3, 4 at the most. I mean, if you're really humping it, you can get 4 or 5 even. But it's not real efficient for making a lot of contacts. A phone can be very efficient and very personal at the same time. You can go through a lot of phone calls in the course of a day and still have it be fairly personable. Not as personal as in person, but still pretty effective. Email, very efficient. You can blast 10,000 people in a matter of moments, but not personal at all. Unless the person knows you, it's not personal at all. And then social networking, about the same. You can reach a lot of people and real quickly, but not real personal. And then the book goes through a sample conversation on page 45, and that's a script. And it's a very simple script. And when I first started scripting, Christy told me, write your name down. Where it says, good morning, my name is Maverick. You would write down, my name is Maverick on the script so you don't mess it up. I know it sounds silly, but it was really effective. So you go through the script and you anticipate what the person might say and where you want to take them in the conversation, or what information are you trying to get from them, whether it's a connection or whatever. You want to write that into your script. And when you make a phone call, always, 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 whether it's a personal phone call or a business phone call, always ask, is this a good time? Can I have 3 minutes of your time? Never make a phone call more than 10 minutes. 5 minutes is really pushing it. 2 to 3 is about optimal, especially when you're seeking information from somebody. So minimal chit chat at the front end, get to the point, let that person go. And if they say, it's not a good time, when is a good time? When can we get back together? I need 2 or 3 minutes of your time. Honor people that way, and they will appreciate it. And when you get to connect with them, they will have appreciated that, and they will be more willing to give you more the information that you're seeking. And then when the phone call is finished, make notes as soon as it's over. Do not wait 5 minutes. Don't even go to the bathroom or get a cup of coffee. Make your notes right then and there while it's still fresh in your mind.
Yeah.
If you're supposed to send an email right then. Write a note. You want to do 2 things. You want to send the email immediately, thanking them for the conversation, and then write a note. Who writes notes these days? And if they get a personal note from you, they're going to think, wow, Lisa really appreciated that conversation with me. She really appreciated that information I gave her. Takes almost no time, very little money, ranks you way high on their list of people that they like. Call or email the referring person. So whoever gave you the referral, give them a call, send them an email, say, thanks for referring me to John Doe. I really appreciated it. We had a great time on the phone together. Why do you want to do that?
So they'll refer you again.
Yes.
Give you more.
Yeah.
Right. Why else?
Well, I would think that would just make the relationship, it would continue to create a good relationship. So then they feel good about what's going on and are going to keep giving you, or giving good feedback to the person that they um, network to you to.
Right on the nose, Ashley.
Yeah.
Now they know that you used the information that they gave you.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't just get the information and do nothing with it. They know that you used it, and that person's going to come back to that person and say, hey, I talked to Ashley. And, thanks for that referral. That was a great referral. That's going to bolster that relationship between you and the person that referred you.
Yeah, anytime you can add the other person to that bridge, kind of like your triangle, so anytime you can bring in that person. I do that all the time on business emails. Somebody will contact me and introduce me. It happened today. A friend of mine introduced me to some other ministry that thinks we should work with them or just have a conversation. So I first thank the person in the first line. Hey, thanks, Steve. And then the next line says, hey, William, I'm ready to get connected with you. Appreciate the introduction, kind of things like that. So and even if I don't do that, if I talk to somebody on the phone and they refer somebody to me, I always copy them on the email and reference them in my discussion of the email. Hey, Tom mentioned that you were interested in this type of opportunity. Would love to talk to you more about that. He seemed pretty excited about it, so let's chat next week, kind of thing.
Yeah. And this is true not only in business. It's true in anything that you're doing, whether it's volunteer work, in your church. It improves communication. More people know what's going on and who to talk to. If you go on vacation, they can go to Tom and get some information. Any comments or questions? Okay, there's 4 or more ways to connect: job support and networking groups, the American Job Centers, which they're called different things in different areas. I think it's job centers in Wisconsin, career and job fairs, and recruiters. And on page 46, it has some links to all of those things. One word about recruiters, and this came from Brian Ray, the founder of Crossroads. He said, if a recruiter is good enough, they do not need to charge you a fee up front because they will make enough money on the back end once you get hired that they don't need to charge a fee up front. So if a recruiter wants you to pay them a fee up front, they're probably not a very good recruiter. So don't pay for recruiting. The good recruiters won't charge an upfront fee. Any comments or questions on that? Okay, let's go to the next slide, Tim. A networking card, it's like a business card, except it's just your name, your phone number, and your email address, and then what you're looking for on that card. And you can get free business cards at Vistaprint. There's no reason not to have those. Or if you're comfortable just using your business card, you can use those as well. But this networking card is really effective, especially if you're going to networking meetings. Next slide, Tim. And this networking script. So it's a 3-part script, and it's a 30-second elevator pitch. The idea there is you're locked in an elevator for 30 seconds between floors. In 30 seconds, you have to explain what you're looking for. So part 1 is the employer needs you seek to meet. Part 2, experiences, abilities, and personality. And then part 3, the value that the employer is going to receive. And there are examples on page 48 of what that looks like. Does anybody have an elevator pitch written down that they would like to read?
That was one of the things I was working on and didn't get finished with. So.
Good. All right.
It takes a while.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know that.
Let me tell you how important this is. If I say, Corey, what are you looking for?
Here you go, buddy. Yeah,
and if
Corey,
you don't have that in mind, you're going to say,
you're toast.
let me think. But if you say, I'm seeking an educational organization needing finance, accounting, and process improvement, I've got 10 years of college and CFO experience, and I've achieved growth and substantial savings in those organizations. Now, if you rattle that off, they're going to say, Corey knows what he wants. Corey knows what he's looking for. And what I would do in this example A, instead of educational organization, I would put Wittenberg School District. I would put whatever organization I am targeting into that statement and make it personal. So when you say, I'm looking for, I'm looking at Wittenberg School District for the finance, accounting, and process improvement. Immediately, they're going in their heads, who do I know in Wittenberg School District? And when you get finished with your speech, they're going to say, wow, you really know what you want. Let me introduce you to. So here comes this triangle of trust. Now you're going to get that referral to that person on the school board. You've got to, and you can just say, hey, you know, Maverick is a great guy. I know we both know him. I really appreciate you giving me the time to talk with you about this position in Wittenberg School District. It is very important that you have this networking script written down and practiced. Not that it comes off mechanical, but so that when somebody asks you, what are you looking for, it's not just stammering. You can articulate exactly what it is that you're looking for. Anxiety is the price you pay for not being prepared. Be prepared. The question will come up.
Well, once
you know that question's, if you know it's coming up, be prepared. Tim?
Yeah, it's I think I think the 30-second pitch is really key, regardless of if you're employed or not, because if you are employed and you've got a job, chances are you're not going to be there forever, and chances are somebody's going to need your skills at some point. So, like Lisa would be a very good example of that. I think you've got a nice position now, not quite excited to go to work possibly, but there's other people in your industry that you might love to work for or doing something with them. And so if you're at lunch or you're at different places, well, what do you do? That's the question of the day, right? Well, what do you do? And so if you have that 30-second elevator pitch, not selling necessarily that you're out of job, but this is really not saying I'm out of a job. It's just telling what do I have to offer and what can I bring to the table and how can I bring value to your organization.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's a good thing to have for businesses, ministries, and anything that you're doing. We do it in missions. Right, Maverick? If everybody's been overseas and they come back from a trip, and if you've been overseas before, you've been transformed by this experience of seeing all these, this poverty at extreme levels you've never seen before. You're just culture shocked. You come home, and everybody says, "How was your trip?" And there's so many things in your head to say that by the time you get stuff out, people have already checked out. They don't care what you're saying, and they're going on to the next person in the lobby at church. Right? Mm-hmm. And so we always teach our teams. I always teach my teams, hey, have that Kodak moment. What's that one thing that happened, that important thing that happened that you want everybody to know about? And so, you know what? There's a lot of great things on our trip, but I'm going to tell you this one time that I connected with this guy. And then they'll ask you, well, tell me another one. or now they're luring you because you're confident in what you said, and now they're asking for more additional information instead of just blabbering on about it was hot, there was bugs, I didn't have the food I needed, and by then people are checked out. Same thing with business stuff. When people say, "What do you do?" Do they really care? No. You need to make them care.
Yeah.
You're
Good
muted.
point.
I like how you start with how you can impact. That's critical, because immediately that puts their mind into the motion of, well, where can I use this guy, or where can this guy fit, or this gal, where are they? Oh, they want to do this, and they are this, and they have proven it through and that's just a great way to engage someone's mind just in conversation, and then all of a sudden you're a networker.
Yeah. And the beauty about having this done is you don't have to think about it. It just
Right.
comes out. If it's already in there, it just comes out. You don't have to formulate it.
Yeah.
McKinney, I don't know if everyone has their chat open, but I'm a certified career coach and resume writer who loves helping people get their dream job where they want to work at the salary they desire.
That's excellent.
That's great. I like, I would say I'm looking for individuals who need coaching, or something to that nature, because then people are engaged with, oh, my cousin is really looking, or my whoever just got hates his job, or that kind of thing, and you engage them that way. It's really great.
Okay, I've got a lot to cover here in a very short amount of time. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. That's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, page 49, online searching. There are a lot of different search engines out there for finding jobs, and there's a list of them. Crossroads Career uses Simply Hired, correct, Tim?
No, we don't. We have our own.
Oh, okay. So Crossroads Career has their own.
Yeah, we have a lot of jobs on there.
Yeah, so 15 to 50% of your search time should be spent online searching, which means 85 to 50% of your time should be doing what? Actually talking to people. Yes, networking. So don't spend all your time just doing the search. Networking is part of the search, and it's the biggest part of the search. There are job boards, social media, email. As far as posting a resume, I don't think I'd post a resume online, and Tim may correct me on this, unless there was a job that I saw online that required it. But putting it out on like Hot Jobs or Career Builder, I don't know, Tim. What do you think on that?
When you go to one of the major ones, you're going to get a lot of people coming after you. Half of those are going to be scams, or probably higher. 80% of them are going to be scams. And so I personally, knowing what I know today, would not go to Career Builder and put my resume on there, just because of the influx of junk that would come at me. In terms of like Crossroads, I would definitely go to crossroadscareer.org and put mine on there, because it's a niche job website. We're trying to help people find job seekers in God's calling, and we have a lot of employers that have been posting recently. We've got a lot of jobs on there, and we've got quite a few employers, several thousand, who are looking through these resumes. We've got probably almost 1,500 resumes on our system right now. And so there's quite a bit of data in there that's good. So I would just stick with the niche job boards in posting your resume, generally speaking.
Yeah, one of the suggestions on page 49 is to search the employer website. So if you're targeting a specific opportunity, go to that organization's website and look for their job postings, because they will post them right there. That's probably the best and safest way if you want to search online. But even then, I would say look what's there, and that's that's the tip of the iceberg, right? The 10 to 15% of the job market is posted. 85% of it's underwater. You can't see it. So know that's what's visible. If it sounds like something close to what you're looking for, apply, but don't be afraid to say, you know, I'm applying for this job, but these are my skills. I would really like to do this. And if you can articulate how by them hiring you, you can advance their mission, that is attractive to an employer. That's what they're looking for, is for people that will advance their mission, advance their organization. So it's not just about the words that are on the job site. And then there's a list of searching for online postings. You can read through those yourselves. Any questions on that before we move on? All right. LinkedIn is probably the top professional networking site available. How many people have LinkedIn profiles? Raise your hands. Okay. Kini, I can't see your hand. I'm teasing you.
Oh, I'm sure she's on there.
Are you guys pretty familiar with LinkedIn?
No.
Lisa?
Somewhat.
Somewhat. Terry?
Yes.
Yes, very? Okay. LinkedIn is amazing because you can go on there and, Tim, can you just bring up LinkedIn real quick?
Sure,
Is that possible?
Yeah. Yep. Just a second.
And LinkedIn has groups. And we'll just talk about groups real quick. You can join, if you have a hobby or an interest, say like knitting, you can go on LinkedIn and find a knitting group and get to know people in there and start networking that way. That's a really easy way to start networking because you have an interest in that. You can start conversation, and you'll be amazed at how many movers and shakers are interested in the things that you're interested in.
Yeah.
And Tim,
go.
I'm going to just borrow your profile. So if you'll click, just scroll down a little bit because I want to show them. Sorry, on your home page. So Tim has 431 connections, and scroll down a little bit, and he's had 9 profile views. Keep going down. Are you on your profile, or is this your home?
Yeah, this is my profile.
Okay, this is his profile. So you can see down at the bottom, people have. You keep scrolling.
Sorry.
All right, let's go back to the home page because that's what I really want to show folks. Okay, now scroll down just a little bit on the right side and you'll see he's got 9 people that have viewed his profile in the last, how many days?
15.
15 days. Okay. And these are the people. So you can actually see who has searched your profile. Sometimes it'll just
this guy.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I'm talking to him next week, so I need to get
And it's that simple. You just push a button and now you've sent an invitation to connect on LinkedIn. And now you can see everything about him. You can learn about his company. You can find out who he's connected to. He's connected to 500 people. And if you scroll down, you'll see who he knows that you know.
Yep.
So now you can use your triangle of trust. And you can say, hey, Brian, I'm going to talk to Scott Saunders. Who is it? Stockton?
Stockton, yeah.
I'm going to talk to Scott next week. Would you mind giving me a referral just so that Scott knows a little bit about me? And Brian will say, well, you know, I think Tim's a pretty good guy. He's my CEO. Yeah, I'll give you a referral.
Yeah.
And this triangle of trust, everything that Scott thinks about Brian, he now thinks about Tim.
Yeah, and I can do
Now,
a little intro here to get introduced by this guy. So I'm asking Brian to introduce me to Scott.
it is that simple.
Yeah, so, hey.
Think about who you'd like to talk to. If there's, and this happens daily.
That's in order.
You know, in all kinds of situations. I need to talk to somebody at that company. Look through your contacts to see who you know. Get an introduction.
Yeah, if you click on people that you may know, then it'll pull up all these different connections from things that you've had in the past. And
Yeah, those are actually filters. So you can click on those filters, and it will filter by that organization.
Yep. And you
so those all have some kind of relationship with the University of Georgia.
Yeah, they probably went to the school most likely or worked there.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have some connection there. So it's a theme that you can use. Tim, let's go back to your home page. Scroll down a little bit. And you'll see that out of Tim's 431 connections, he has the ability to connect with 8,356,000 people. Now, how many people out of that 8,356,000 does he need to make a really decent connection to somebody? Just one, right? He can probably find one. So just by using this triangle of trust and going to his 431 connections and looking for whatever it is that he's looking for, make a connection to that organization or that person who will get him to what he wants. Yeah, and you can spend a lot of time doing this. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, you can dive deep.
Yeah, so I don't recommend spending a lot of time, but a little, like Tim said, just one a day. Just go out there and look for one a day. And if you don't know somebody, but you want to know them, just put them in the search bar. Just put their name in the search bar, and it will tell you how you're connected. So let's put Rick Warren up there. Does everybody know who Rick Warren is? Or Matt? We're already connected, so that doesn't work.
Okay.
So let's say Rick Warren. Rick Warren is the pastor at Saddleback Church in California. He wrote a lot of books. Rick is a second line connection to Tim. There is only one person between Tim and Rick Warren. How amazing is that? You just put the name of the person or the organization that you want connected to, and you can look through your connections to find out how to get there. Is that useful?
Yeah, definitely. I've had a profile out there for a long time just because somebody connected with me years ago. So I built the thing, and now I've got all these people that are like endorsing me, and it's like, that's really nice. I hardly know you, but thank you very much for endorsing me. So I've got a bunch of endorsements and everything else, but I don't use it at all.
Yeah, you know, I was in Georgia at a Crossroads meeting, and they were talking about that, about these right here on your profile, like Lisa's mentioning right here. So this is skills and expertise. So the interesting thing is about how people view you. I think that's the only real quality this gives to you is what people see you as, which I thought was kind of interesting. I don't think it has any merit to what you're doing because it's a one click. I don't even know half these people. Like I don't really know them. Some of them I do, but like this guy here, I don't know who he is. Well, I knew him like 7 years ago in Chicago. Why is he saying that I'm good at leadership development? How does he know that?
Yeah, that's where I was coming from.
But I do think that this is really powerful here, the recommendations portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got all these people that have recommended me, and you can see all of them. And once you start, one of my friends said that I try to get one recommendation for every 10 people that I know. So if you know 400 people, then you get 40 recommendations from people.
Mm-hmm. Do you ask them for that? You ask them?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Here's Lou. This is my buddy. Lou has 416 connections. This guy he's a powerhouse, and he's got all these endorsements, blah blah blah, and that's fine. But if you go down to here, he's got 71 people who have said things about him.
Yeah, and the thing is, on LinkedIn, you pretty much have to ask people for an endorsement.
Correct.
People don't usually just say, "Hey, I'd like to give you an endorsement on LinkedIn." Just doesn't happen. So when you see somebody that has 71 endorsements, that's because he's gone out and asked 71 people, "Will you endorse me?" So you don't want a big number there. What you want are 4 or 5, about 10, no more than 10 solid endorsements from people that you respect that really know you.
Because they're going to call them. I mean, that's the thing I can do is if I'm a recruiter, right, and I'm going to say, okay, I know this Lou guy, I'm going to go down here and see who recommended him, right? And if I call Donald Larson and Donald really doesn't know Lou, but he's like, oh, Lou's pretty good, right? I'm going to call Donald based on this tremendous business partner. Wow, that is a powerful statement right there. So I'm guessing that they're buddies, right? Well, half the time it's not the truth, right, Maverick? I mean, half the time.
Well, I wouldn't say half the time, but when you see somebody with a lot of, like 500 endorsements, yeah, chances are most of those people don't even know anything about that person.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've had probably 30 or 40% of the people just endorse me, Maverick. So I think it's a little bit higher that have recommend, because it says, would you like to recommend Lou? I can do it myself. So Lisa, you don't always have to ask people. I get people who recommend me as well. So.
Yeah, and that can happen depending on your personality. People may want to, or your industry even. People may want to just get out there and recommend you because you serve them, and they want to do something for you.
Yep.
Okay.
Any questions on LinkedIn?
Well, that was very good. Thank you. I needed that.
One other thing about the groups, when you join a group, don't go in there with an agenda to convert the group to something or to try and sell the group something. Go into the group and join the conversation. Read through the conversation, make a comment, make it brief. Just start getting your name out there. So people who read the discussions will start recognizing you. And eventually somebody's going to come up and say, hey, I've seen you on this discussion. We're doing this project. Would you like to help us on it? Those things happen. I know because it's happened to me. I actually had a company want to hire me. I've got a job. What do you need done? I'll serve you. What do you need done? Well, we want to hire you. No, I'm employed. I'm fine. What do you need done? Just blew their mind that I would work for them for nothing just to help them get a project done. And they never did use me, because they just didn't know how to do it. They had no concept on how to do that. So you can blow people's mind on LinkedIn too.
And then get endorsed as a mind blower.
Yeah. Put that as part of my profile, mind blower. LinkedIn is professional. Facebook is social. Don't confuse the two. Don't put anything on Facebook that you wouldn't want read professionally, because business organizations go out and look at Facebook first. They may Google you first, Facebook second, but they're going to go to Facebook and see what you're doing. So don't do anything stupid on Facebook. So Corey, those bikini pictures have to come down.
Right. Darn.
Big time. Did you say bikini or bikini?
Okay. The last thing on here is to get your own email address. If you don't have your own, I recommend Outlook.com. Outlook, Microsoft just launched Outlook.com, so there's tons of names available. So you can go get your name at Outlook.com. That looks very professional. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Well, I tried to bring it in under an hour, and just a little bit over. Tim, would you mind closing us in prayer tonight?
Yeah, that would be good. And we can do some more dialoguing this week about it. Lord, we thank you that just for educating us in new ways to do things, giving us a competitive advantage. Lord, just being a follower of Christ, we have a competitive advantage, a big one. And so, Lord, we pray that you'd help us with networking. Out of all the things in this lesson, Lord, I think networking is the hardest for most people. So, Lord, we pray that you would break the fear down and take away the anxiety that's man-made, not God-made. And, Lord, that you would allow us to converse with people and bring networking in as a natural conversation and as a flow, so that every day we're thinking about how we can bless somebody else, how can we help our cousin, how can we help these other people, and in turn, Lord, it's going to get paid forward to us as we're have our antennas up looking for opportunities that you have for us and those around us, Lord. So we thank you for that. And God, I pray that you be with us as we travel and go home and to our families tonight and bring us safely together next week. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And I'll stay on if anybody wants to chat.
Well, Maverick, McKinney had one more question about if you would prefer Outlook over Gmail and why.
I would prefer Outlook over Gmail only because Gmail, you may not be able to find your name with Gmail. Whereas with Outlook, you can probably find your name. So I would go, you could try Gmail, but pretty slim chance. Unless your name is like McKinney, then you may have a chance.
Yeah.
She's good.
That's very true.
At least a ghost isn't usually too difficult either. I can usually find mine anywhere.
Yeah, there you go.
You're pretty safe too, Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah. And next week, by the way, Maverick is going to be on a beach in Tahiti next week.
I will be in Colorado Springs.
Oh, well, I was trying. It was close, yeah. And so next week, we have a guest facilitator, and it is Brian Ray himself who created this whole thing. So you're definitely going to want to come back and hang out with us next week.
Yeah. And I'll be back the following week, but don't throw rocks after you hear Brian. Brian's definitely done this a few more times than I have, and he's the one that taught me.
Yep. He did a good job teaching you.
Thanks.
You're doing a great job. I got a lot out of this, and in ink, I wrote down your quote. So that's a lot for me. So
yeah, he doesn't write.
I hate writing things down. He doesn't write.
I am honored, Corey.
In the darkest crayon I could find. Yeah, that's great.
I'm trying to think if there was anything that significant that I need to tell you guys.
Is there homework next week, or do we come?
Well, next week we're going to be.
How can we come prepared?
Well, it's Brian, so you guys can just show off next week. Next week, Brian's going to talk about interviews, and Brian has done thousands and thousands.
Tens of thousands.
So you are going to be in good hands next week. But the whole drive of next week is that when you leave an interview, the interviewer is going to say, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, and on the discussion questions for next week too, we have some nice ones. One is any interviewing stories come to mind. So I'd like to hear some funny interviewing stories if you had some good ones of things that happened on the way to the interview or things that were said in the interview. I can remember some things, so I'll post some stuff in there. But McKinney's already beat me to it. But please go in there and post some stuff. Some of it's rather comical. Not at the time. But afterwards,
Looking back, hindsight hilarious. So, hey, Maverick, I did have a question. When you're doing an in-person class, do you stop and work on elevator pitches?
Absolutely. Yes,
okay.
we spend quite a bit of time on elevator pitches in my class. We'll probably spend 20 minutes talking about and writing elevator pitches.
Okay.
It is a significant part of this study.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions? I'm looking forward to hearing what happens this week when you guys go out and start using LinkedIn. Oh, by the way, connect to me on LinkedIn if you haven't. I would love to be connected to you guys.
Perfect.